guys, today I am going to film my very first tutorial. It is going to be on my everyday neutral look. And so if you want to stay tuned to see what I do every day to achieve this look here, then stay tuned. Alright guys, so the first thing I'm going to do is prime my eye with Clinique's Touch Base in Canvas. I'm just going to put that on my finger and rub it all over the lid. We're going to get our Designer Chocolates Quad from Maybelline and a fluffy brush and grab this second lightest color here and go ahead and wash that all over the lid. Clear from lash line to brow bone. Next, I'm going to grab a light colored shimmery powder. If you have any sort of MAC pigment or any other potted glittery color that looks like this, go ahead and go for it because this is discontinued from AVON. I'm just going to put that in the inner corner and the inner tear duct with my finger. So you can see that there, that glittery color. Then I'm going to grab one of my favorite eyeshadows. This is from Ulta and it's called Bermuda Sand. I'm using this one from e.l.f. It cost $1. And I'm just going to dab this in there, tap off the excess, and then first what I'm going to do is pat on the outer 2/3 of that lid and kind of start creating the shape that we want for this shadow. And then I'm going to go in again for a little more, tap it off, and this time instead of patting I'm going to stroke it over. Just brush it over everything I did before, define that outer little V, and then go ahead and go in and blend it with that lighter sparkly color ever so lightly, because you don't want to cover up the sparkly color, you want to blend this into the sparkly color. And putting that sparkly color in your inner corner is really going to open up your eyes and make you look alert, awake, and hot. So that's what we have now. Now I'm going to go in, again with that same fluffy brush from e.l.f. and from our Designer Chocolates Quad, I'm going to grab the burgundy color. I'm just going to swirl it around in there, tap it off, and kind of still sticking with that shape I want, go up from the corner of the eye and then into the crease. In the crease and a little above the crease onto the brow bone, we're going to do these windshield wiper motions to deposit that in there. And this doesn't look like you're doing much, and that's the point. It doesn't have to be too dramatic, but depositing this color here in the crease is just adding dimension to your eyes and making the shape look beautiful. We're going to grab a angled brush. This is the defining eye brush from e.l.f. right here. And I'm going to place that in this darkest color here, this dark brown color. Tap off the excess, and here we're going to give ourselves some more definition to this outer V. This is what's really going to give us some definition. Go up from the corner and then into the crease, but only about that far, only about 1/3 of the way. And we're just going to keep doing that. Up, into the crease. And then I like to kind of press to kind of put that shadow into place. Then I'm going to go ahead and grab that same fluffy brush again and put it in this lightest color we're going to use as a highlight. Swirl that in there and then put that right under the brow bone. And sometimes I like to re-dip a little bit, and we're just touching this really, really lightly. We don't want a big wash of white under the eyebrow, so very light. And then put that in there, and sometimes I like to go all the way down with it, like that. And this really also works to brighten up the eye and open up the eye. Then with the same brush, I'm going to soften up that outer corner I made. And I'm just barely touching the tip of this brush onto my eye and going over this. I kind of took off the corner so it's not so it's just not so angular, and then I'm gonna kind of just barely dab 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 over it to kind of soften it up. So now that I'm satisfied with the shadow and how everything's blended there, I'm going to go on to eyeliner. And I prefer liquid liner because I like a really definite sharp defined line. If you don't like that so much, or if you want to go more subtle, or if you're younger, go ahead and use a Khol liner and then smudge that out and go over it with a shadow of the same color, and that's going to create a more subtle effect. So So I'm using Boots No. 7 liquid liner in black, and this is from Target. Has a brush applicator, and I always start about at the level of the pupil. And this doesn't have to be perfect at first. I'm going to draw it out, swoop it up a little. Then when I'm right here at this point, I'm going to go from the corner of my eye up to that point I just made. And then from that point, straight back. And this does not have to be perfect right now. Then I'm going to go to the inner corner. I'm going to try to hold my hand where you can see it, but this is hard for me. And this is my very first tutorial. So you want it to be ever so thin on the inner part of your eye. So just run lightly, just the very tip of that brush on the lash line in the inner parts. Then I like to re-dip and go over this to make it more black and to fill in this little gap we have over here where we winged it out. So after I re-dip it, start at the pupil again and go over our line to kind of perfect it and darken it. And then fill in this little corner that we have here where we can see our skin showing through. Darkening this up. I like a very black, defined line on my eyes. It's just my preference. Now we're going to go on to the lower lash line. I'm using a Khol liner from Prestige. It is black. And I'm going to line the waterline. So I'm going to gently, with my other hand, pull my cheek down a little bit and then draw this onto the waterline. I am having allergies right now, so the inside of my eye here is a little red. And drawing this on the waterline is not recommended by doctors or eye doctors, so if you do this, do it at your own risk. You could get eye infections or things like that, and if you ever go to the eye doctor with eyeliner on your waterline, be prepared to get a lecture, because I know I have. Okay, so now all the liner I have on the bottom is on the inside, on the wet part. And so now just on the very outer corner, I'm going to draw some onto the skin, just to add some definition to the outer half of the eye. So from the corner, come down just about a third of the way onto the skin, like that. And then I'm going to use my finger and kind of drag it across to kind of make it not so obvious. So now to set that liner on the bottom, we're going to need to grab some matte black shadow, or if you're more fair or you want to go not so dramatic, use the same chocolate brown from the Designer Chocolate Squad. But as you know by now, I like my liner black and dark, so I'm going to use my 266 brush from MAC and place some black shadow down here. And I'm going to put on some mascara after I curl my lashes. I'm using Dior Show mascara in black. I'm just going to wiggle at the base, pull the wand through. Wiggle at the base, pull the wand through. And on the bottom lashes, just a very, very light, as light as you can, just wiggle. Okay, now I'm done with my eyes, and I'm just going to put on my lips. I'm going to use Rimmel's Birthday Suit lipstick. It's a nice peachy neutral color. And I'm going to add just a clear balmy gloss. This is the Starry Sweet Almond Oil Lip Therapy with pure extracts. I got this from cherryculture.com. Alright, so this is the finished look.
I've been awake for a while now. You got me feeling like a child now. 'Cause every time I see your bubbly face, I get the tingles in a silly place. It starts in my toes and I crinkle